Parkinson's is a terrible disease and it's increasingly prevalent because we as a species are living longer. And here at Manchester, we may have come up with a way to detect it earlier, which means there may be ways to then treat it and have a better outcome for the patient.
I have a colleague, and we were working with him on aspects of Parkinson's disease. Actually, we were looking at proteins, and he introduced me to a lady called Joy Milne. She'd asked him a very simple question, and the question was, do people who have Parkinson's disease smell? There is a distinct odour which is associated with people with Parkinson's disease, and when one talks to Joy, she's very clear about this. Her husband was a sufferer of Parkinson's disease, but before he was diagnosed, nearly 6 years before he was diagnosed, she noticed he smelt differently. So at the moment we're running a clinical trial where we're sampling from people who've just been diagnosed with Parkinson's to determine what the molecular composition is that gives rise to this smell. We got a small panel of people who had Parkinson's and they volunteered to wear t-shirts. So we had 6 people with Parkinson's, 6 without. Of those samples, all but one of the people, Joy correctly identified as Parkinson's sufferers. The one she couldn't identify was someone who had worn a bit too much perfume, and so that was masking the smell. One of the control subjects, she scored as a low hit as a Parkinson's sufferer. We hadn't told her how many people we had in our trial, nor was there any difference between the t-shirts. So that was a false result, an incorrect result, but we thought, but this is still a pretty good hit rate. Then, remarkably, about 9 months after that, that person who was our control was diagnosed with Parkinson's. I'm a mass spectrometrist, and that means I weigh molecules.
We're very fortunate that here at Manchester we've got world-leading equipment to weigh the molecules that we're interested in.
Once we know what it is, we can develop a diagnostic test, but we also could start to think why that molecule is being upregulated. And that will be something to give to the Parkinson's research community in general, so that they can think what processes contribute to making this additional biomarker, and perhaps in understanding those we can start to target the early stages of the disease better.
So one of the great beauties of this research is there's no way that you could have predicted this or planned it out in advance. It was an observation that came along, and it needed talented colleagues to recognise what this observation meant and then to follow it up to see how it could be developed into a test that would help anybody that would be suffering from this condition.